Well, hey everybody. So you all submitted some questions for this Ask Me Anything segment. You guys asked some really good questions. So I'm just gonna kind of go through them and we'll see how it goes. I don't have many, but I do have a talent that I can do weird tricks with my tongue. So I can do this, and I can do roll it upside down. That's all I got. That's the only way that I'm talented. My greatest fear is that my children will grow up to hate the church. Kind of a common story amongst PKs, I'm sorry to say, but that is my greatest fear. This is an interesting question. I had to think really hard about it. I think I would have to go with sweethearts because I'm really sweet most of the time, but can be a little sassy from time to time. So that little tartness, yeah. I have several nicknames from different people in my life. So my first name is Joe. So my dad growing up would call me Jojo or Coley Joe. My grandpa called me Frenchie because he said when I was little I looked like a French baby, and Nicole is a French name. And I never heard him call me Nicole ever. I don't even know if he would know that that was my name. It always was Frenchie. He always called me Frenchie. So that's a nickname that is dear to my heart, and I miss hearing that now that he has passed on. Injustice in the world just infuriates me. Seeing evil in the world, it makes me so angry. Harmful and bad theology, and the ways in which people twist theology in order to make it fit their point of view, and it can just really be it can really harm people so deeply, and I hate that. I hate that. Yeah. There are so many. Oh my goodness. I would say a couple that I have come in contact just within the past few years that have been so transformational for me is The Road Back to You by Suzanne Stabile and Ian Cron. It's talking about the Enneagram and explaining what the Enneagram is. It has set me on a journey of self-discovery and has helped me deepen my faith with God and has helped me appreciate who God created me to be. It has been just transformational. Check it out. It is so good. And if you want to talk about Enneagram, please hit me up because I'd love to talk about it with anybody. Also, Practicing the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. Just a wonderful, it's a short little book, but so good. Check it out. I think it's only like $5 or $6 on Amazon, so just check it out. It's so good. Or I have a copy I can lend you. I've never broken a bone. I don't know how that's possible growing up with three brothers and wrestling all the time growing up, but I have never broken a bone. Called Pirates Cove. It is so fun, and you get to like build up your pirate ship. It's really fun. It's super fun. Check it out. My answer would be John Wesley. I love John Wesley. I am enamored with him. He had such wonderful theology, and the way that he taught in all different areas of England and even here in America. His life has been very influential in my life. And if you don't know much about him, I'm sure you'll hear more about him in sermons from me, but you should check him out. He was a fascinating guy, a very flawed person, as we all are, but loved God so dearly and gave us such a gift in the Methodist Church. again, this one like took me a long time to think through because there are just so many instances. My first thought was going to church camp when I was a kid. I was a little grassy camper, a United Methodist camp down near Carbondale, where I accepted Christ and attended, and I still attend every summer because it was such an influential place. But if I had to think about the most overwhelming moment where I felt the presence of God, it would be at my ordination. When the bishop laid his hands on me, and my youth pastor and another pastor I worked with laid their hands on me, it was a feeling like I cannot explain. I have never so strongly felt God's presence in my life. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. It was a powerful, life-changing moment, and you kind of go into it thinking that that's going to be a big deal, ordination, in that moment, but I never would have anticipated it being as powerful as it was. It was one of the best moments of my life. I'm one of 5 kids. I'm the second in the 5. I have an older sister and 3 younger brothers. I know, 3 younger brothers. But I function like a firstborn, and I was an outdoorsy kid. My brothers and I played outside all the time growing up. We played in the creek, and my sister too. In the woods, we were always outside in the summer, every day, all day outside. I loved to read as a kid. I loved being around my family, going on vacations, all those like big memory makers. But I think I was a good kid. I never got in trouble. Straight A student. Yeah, that's kind of who I was. Just the kind of that firstborn sort of kid, even though I wasn't the firstborn. This is a hard question. I think my hardest test of faith has been being a pastor and working in the church. When I was called into ministry, I was 16, and I was young and naive, and I was so excited to work in the church because I thought, I'll get to work for God. This is like the greatest gig ever. Like, this is going to be the best job. And I think once you start working in the church, I've had some just hard experiences in different churches I've worked in seminary and early in ministry, of just some really broken people making it really difficult for me and for others that I worked with too. And just, I've met some of the meanest people in my life in the church. And I know that's because the church calls all of us in our brokenness to gather together, and so you kind of like figure that out. But I would say that's been the hardest test of my faith, is just feeling this call into ministry and sometimes just wanting to walk away from it because it was so difficult. But it's also just blessings beyond measure to be a pastor, and so it's that balance, I think. I don't think I have, not that I know of. My grandma was big into genealogy, and nobody famous that I know of. I am a 9th generation Methodist though, and I think that's kind of cool. And up the ancestral tree, I have several that were Methodist pastors, so that's kind of cool too. I didn't know that until after I had become a pastor. But I'm pretty proud to be a 9th generation Methodist. That doesn't happen very often these days, and so I kind of wear that as a little bit of a badge of honor. So I have not played a musical instrument since high school, but coming up through band, I played several. I played B-flat clarinet, alto clarinet, bass clarinet. We had an all-brass marching band, so I had to learn a brass instrument, so I played baritone for a year, and then they asked me to switch to mellophone, which is a marching French horn. And then after that, they said, we really just need a good French hornist. Would you play French horn in concert band? So then I played French horn. in college, and I absolutely loved it. And I could not be more thrilled that Aubrey has been learning to play French horn. So every once in a while, I'll pick it back up and play it. I can still play a little bit, but it's certainly rusty. I am a Diet Coke, and if you put vanilla in it, I'm a super happy girl. I am vanilla all the way. I've always loved vanilla. Winter. Snow. I love, love, love snow. And Christmas and all the magic that comes in the winter time. It's so beautiful. Snow is just so beautiful and sparkly and new, and I love winter. I can't wait for winter. I'm hoping y'all get more snow up here now that I'm a little further north. I'm a total night owl. If I didn't have to be up before 9 a.m., I'd be a happy, happy girl. I love to do both. I have a hard time reading since I've become a mom, just because it's, life is so busy, and I often just fall asleep if I read these days. But I love to read, and when I was on the beach last week, I read lots of books. Love movies, though. I'm a big movie fan. I love going to see movies in the theater. I love watching movies at home. But I do have a rule that you can't see the movie before you've read the book. So my children are having to endure that as we're reading through the Harry Potter series, and they aren't allowed to watch the movies until we've read the books. So love both. I love roller coasters. I would choose that. I love to do both. I love to eat out. I love to cook. Although if I'm gonna cook, I have some stipulations. Like I want like all the ingredients in the house. Like I hate when I have to go to the grocery store to get something to cook. And I don't want to have to clean up afterwards. That's not fun. So I love to cook, but eating out is also super fun too. So that brings us to the end. You guys had such great questions, and I'm sorry like this was a little lengthy, but you get a preacher telling stories, and it's just going to be lengthy. So anyway, thanks for asking questions. I'm so excited to continue to get to know you all. I hope this has helped you feel like you get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, we'll continue on in this journey of getting to know one another. See you guys later.